Welcome to Break It with Brandon. I'm your host, Brandon Adkins, and today we're going to break down last week's episode with the Weed Whacker blades. So you saw me attempt to break some Weed Whacker blades, and I got to tell you guys, this was probably my favorite video to shoot so far because I got to go full Fruit Ninja, which was freaking awesome with a Weed Whacker. We had pineapples, we had tomatoes, celery, all kinds of different stuff. Go back and check out the video if you didn't already. But I was also really impressed by the testing that we did because we found out that pretty much any material that you can use for 3D printing is going to be suitable for Weed Whacker blades, which was pretty awesome. So if you need replacement blades, I guess you can just make your own. So where we started on this one, we always try to break something first, so typically we'll start with PLA parts, which are, great for conceptual stuff, but not always the best for application, right? So this one took a little bit, actually. I was kind of impressed on how long that it did last, but ultimately we did shatter one of the blades. So you've got a little bit of kind of brittle behavior with PLA sometimes. So we kind of expected that to happen, but honestly, it took a little bit longer than I thought. With the TPU blades, these are a flexible material. We printed these on our Cindo 2X, and I was really impressed with how these ones behaved as well. They were, very resilient. I was able to get through all the fruit just fine. There was literally no issues with the fruit at all. So, of course, we had to try to break it, as we always do. You saw the cinder block in the video, and it wasn't until I started taking the TPU blades to the cinder block that they started to wear out some, but it's not like you're gonna actually use these things on concrete all the time anyways. So they do last pretty long. It's, I think, a pretty decent material to use for this kind of thing. And then, of course, we had to test one of our favorite materials, the Mark Forged Onyx. Again, very good performance out of these parts. Made it through all the fruit, no issues there. Pretty strong, pretty durable material in and of itself. And then, of course, same kind of test that we did there with taking the blades up against the cinder block. Not many issues to speak of. You can see that they kind of, chiseled down a little bit. They started to kind of fray on the ends and stuff, but overall, pretty decent blade design there. Now, for this test, obviously, Kevlar is an impact-resistant material. That's why you see it used a lot for bulletproof vests and that type of thing. So we thought high-speed blades, this is a pretty good application for Kevlar. And I think the Kevlar was a nice addition in this case. You can see that we had some bending on the edges of the blades. Once I started taking it to the cinder block, we even kind of put it up against the tree stump out behind the office there. And no issues at all with the blades other than they've kind of curled on the ends. But I would say that overall, really any of these blades is a pretty suitable material if you were going to use it for actual home use on your Weed Whacker if you wanted to. Something else that is kind of a good thought for a design like this, this is a pretty small part. So when you're at the end of your spool of material, why not use the extra material to make something like this? If you need a new set of blades for your Weed Whacker or something else around the house, just any way to use up that leftover material is really a good thing, and this would be a pretty sweet way to do it. So overall, a fun project. We got to kind of reverse engineer the blades that came stock on that Weed Whacker, do our own thing to it, put a little twist on it, and test a few different materials, which was really the fun part of this. And of course, full Fruit Ninja mode, which you guys hopefully had a lot of fun with. I know I did. Got to make a little bit of a mess. Sorry, Corinne, for the cleanup on the camera, but definitely a fun one. Make sure to join us next week where we're actually going to have some lumberjack fun. We'll be testing out some wedge designs to see how well they'll split some wood. I'll see you next time on Break It with Brandon.